The desperate pleth galaxy was trembling. Whole worlds were burning. The swarm was moving like a tide of shadows. No wall, no fleet, no empire could hold them back. On the edges of the known stars, entire colonies had already vanished. There, cities stripped to nothing, their skies filled with silence. The Galaxy Council gathered inside the Great Hall. Leaders of dozens of species sat around the vast circle, their eyes full of fear. They had argued for weeks, but no answer had been found. Their fleets were broken. Their armies were crushed. Their strategies failed again and again. The swarm did not stop, it only consumed. The oldest alien in the chamber, a tall figure covered with silver scales, raised his trembling voice. He said that their last chance was to ask for help beyond their council. Whispers rose immediately because everyone knew who he meant. Humanity for centuries, humans had not been part of the council. Long ago, they had walked away after bitter disputes. No one knew where their fleets had gone. Some said humanity had collapsed. Others said they had hidden, waiting, preparing, but most simply forgot them. We cannot ask them, one leader shouted, his voice sharp. They are dangerous. They are unpredictable. They bring chaos wherever they go. Another voice followed. But the swarm is worse. If we do nothing, none of us will survive. The debate shook the chamber. Every species carried old fears of humans, memories of battles where humanity fought harder than any logic predicted. They remembered humans refusing to surrender, adapting to every weapon, standing even when crushed. For the galaxy, humanity was not just another race. They were a storm. Still, desperation was stronger than fear. Slowly, one by one, the council leaders lowered their heads in agreement. The message would be sent, a plea for help. The message traveled through hyperspace, across broken relays and forgotten star lanes, searching for a receiver that might not even exist. The council did not know if humans would answer. Many believed no one would even hear it, but still, they waited. Days turned into weeks. The swarm kept advancing. One empire fell, then another. Ships filled with refugees fled toward the center of the galaxy. Worlds burned, and the council wondered if their message had been lost. Then, on the 7th week, a signal returned. It was not long, not dramatic, just a calm human voice. "We have heard you. We are coming." Silence followed. The council chamber froze. No one spoke for a long moment. The words were simple, but they carried weight. It was like a legend rising from the grave. Fear returned quickly. Some leaders shouted again. "If they come, we will lose control. The humans will take power. We will trade one danger for another." But others, the desperate ones, whispered, "Better to live under humans than die under the swarm." Far away in the ruins of a border world, survivors saw strange lights in the sky, shapes moving through the void. They thought it was the swarm returning, but the shapes did not attack. They only watched, silent, waiting. Rumors began to spread. Whispers of massive ships hidden beyond known space. Whispers of an old human fleet that had never been destroyed. A fleet said to be unstoppable. The council heard these rumors and trembled. They remembered old tales, stories told to frighten children. Stories of human warships glowing with strange energy. Ships that could fight entire armadas alone. They had always thought these were only myths. But now the myths were moving again. In the refugee camps, alien children asked their parents about humans. "Are they real?" they whispered. "Will they save us?" Some parents shook their heads. Others told old stories, voices trembling between fear and hope. Inside the council, the leaders prepared for the next attack. The swarm was only weeks away from the core. If humanity did not come, everything would end. And deep inside the void, where no alien dared to travel, ancient engines awakened, massive structures lit with fire, and the hum of forgotten power shook the stars. Humanity had heard the desperate plea, and for the first time in centuries, they were moving. The return of humanity. The signal that humans sent was short, but it spread like fire. Across every refugee camp, across every broken fleet, across every dark hall of the council, aliens repeated the words again and again. "We have heard you. We are coming." For many, it was hope. For others, it was fear. The council gathered once more. their faces pale, their eyes restless. The silver-scaled elder leaned forward, whispering that the galaxy had changed the moment that voice arrived. A counselor with wings folded close to his body spoke with bitterness. "Do you not remember what they are? Humanity never bends, they never forget. If they return, they will not leave again." Another answered, "Would you rather the swarm erase us all? At least with humans, we may have a chance." Arguments filled the chamber like thunder, but deep in their hearts every leader knew the truth. Humans were already on the move. Whether the council agreed or not, in the farthest sector, at the edge of forgotten maps, a vast station came alive, long, abandoned, covered in dust and silence, but now its lights burned, its shields rose, and its docks opened. Hundreds of shapes drifted out, silent and waiting. Alien scouts tried to follow. They sent drones into the shadows, but none returned. Only static and broken signals reached back. One scout swore he saw a shape larger than a city, its hull scarred but still glowing before his feet went dark. Rumors became certainty. The legends were true. Humanity had never been gone, they had been building, hiding, sharpening their blades in the dark. Back at the council, the younger races were confused. They had never seen humans. They only knew stories. They asked the elders. "What are they like?" One elder answered with shaking hands. "They are like fire. They warm you when they choose, and they burn you when they must." On a shattered moon, survivors watched as a single human ship arrived. It did not land. It only hovered, its hull black, its design unlike any known ship. The swarm approached, and in one strike the human vessel tore through the attackers, not with chaos but with perfect control. Aliens watching sent the report to the council. The chamber was silent. Then voices rose in awe. Some cried, "The legends live," others whispered, "We have unleashed something we cannot command." But the human ship did not speak. After the battle it vanished again like a shadow into the void, leaving silence behind. Weeks passed, and then another signal came. This time not to the council, but to every world still standing. The voice was human, calm and steady. "To the people of the galaxy, we have heard your plea. We do not fight for conquest, we do not fight for power. We fight because none should stand alone against the dark. Prepare yourselves, for we are returning." The message shook every corner of the galaxy, and refugee camps cheers erupted. Children repeated the words like a song. In council chambers, leaders trembled, unsure if this was salvation or the beginning of a new order. In hidden places, alien warlords planned. Some wanted to resist, some wanted to ally, but all knew one truth. Humanity was coming back, and far beyond, in a hidden nebula. The first lines of the armada gathered, ships black as night, glowing with old scars and new fire. They formed ranks in silence, waiting for the command. Aliens who saw them from afar described the sight in broken voices. "They do not look like machines. They look like legends given steel." The galaxy, for the first time in centuries, felt the weight of humanity again. Whispers of a legendary fleet. The galaxy had not seen such silence in centuries. After the human message spread, even the swarm seemed to hesitate, as if it sensed something stirring in the dark. Worlds that had lived only in fear now began to whisper of hope but also of dread. Traders moving between refugee camps carried strange tales. Some claimed they saw human warships drifting like ghosts through asteroid fields, their hulls scarred with battles older than memory. Others swore they had seen entire star systems flicker as if shadows of fleets were passing through. On one mining colony, a broken sensor array caught a glimpse of something impossible. A vessel the size of a small moon, shaped like a blade. It moved without engines, silent, glowing faintly, then vanished into hyperspace. The recording spread quickly, stirring shock and fear. The council called an emergency session. Leaders argued over the meaning. Some said it was a bluff. Others said no bluff could tear apart the swarm so easily. The silver-scaled elder spoke once more. "The armada of legends. I told you it was not myth." His voice shook. "They built ships that should never exist, ships that could fight alone against entire fleets." Younger counselors scoffed. "Myths are for children. No ship can fight alone." But even as they spoke, their eyes betrayed their doubt. On the outer rim, survivors told their own stories. They described a battle where a single human vessel destroyed thousands of swarm drones. They said the ship moved like it was alive, adapting to every attack, striking with precision, pulling damaged alien craft to safety. Hope began to spread. Fragile but fierce. For the first time since the swarm began its hunger, people spoke of survival, but fear was also growing. Warlords in hidden sectors whispered that if humans truly possessed such power, then after the swarm, who could stop them? Spies sent by the Council tried to follow the human movements, but every attempt ended the same. Silence, broken signals, and empty wreckage drifting in space. Humanity was not hiding poorly. Humanity was hiding with purpose. Deep inside a nebula, where no star gave light, vast structures awakened. Shipyards carved into dead worlds roared back to life. Ancient engines thundered. Massive silhouettes stirred, their hulls shining with symbols long forgotten by the galaxy. Alien scouts who saw them never returned, but fragments of their messages leaked, describing rows of colossal vessels aligned in silence, like statues waiting for command. These whispers reached every corner of the galaxy, from the smallest refugee camp to the greatest palace. The words were always the same. The fleet is real. Children asked again, will the humans save us? Parents told them to stay quiet. Not knowing what to believe, in their hearts they feared that salvation might cost more than extinction. In the council chamber, tension grew. One leader slammed his clawed hands on the table. If the Armada exists, we must control it. Another replied bitterly, control humans? Are you mad? No one has ever controlled them, not even themselves. Still, debates raged, fear and hope mixing like poison. But outside those walls, the galaxy waited, because the swarm was still coming and humanity was still silent on a ruined world. Beneath black skies, a refugee boy looked up and saw something strange. A line of stars moving as one. He pointed with trembling hands, whispering, they are here. His voice carried through the camp, and others looked up, seeing the same line of silent lights cutting through the void. No one spoke. No one breathed. The Armada was not just a rumor anymore. It was moving. It was real. And somewhere deep within the ranks of that fleet, a human commander stood before a vast display, watching the galaxy map flicker, his voice steady. Hold position, we move when the time is right. The whispers of the legendary fleet spread faster than the swarm, faster than fear, faster than hope. And every species knew that the galaxy was standing at the edge of a storm. The first arrival, the swarm pressed deeper into the galaxy, its endless drones sweeping through broken fleets, its monstrous carriers swallowing planets whole. The council prepared for collapse. Every strategy had failed. Every fortress had fallen. Refugees gathered in crowded stations, whispering of humans. Some said they would never come. Some said they were already here, hiding, waiting for the right moment. And then in a quiet sector near the shattered rim, a sensor picked up a strange signal. One ship emerging from hyperspace, only one. The watching aliens expected it to be another doomed refugee craft. But what arrived was something none of them had seen before. The human warship appeared like a shadow pulled from the void. Its hull was black, its edges sharp as if carved by a blade. Old scars ran across its surface, glowing faintly with energy. The ship made no announcement, no greeting. It simply floated in silence. Alien fleets nearby scrambled to identify it. Scanners failed. Their systems jammed. The ship carried no markings, no council codes, but its presence was undeniable when the swarm descended, tens of thousands of drones rushing like a tidal wave. The alien defenders braced for death, their ships too broken, too few. Then the human ship moved, not with chaos, but with terrifying grace. It turned once, and in a single strike it released a wave of light. The swarm shattered. Thousands of drones torn apart in seconds, the aliens froze in shock. They had never seen such firepower from one vessel. The swarm regrouped, launching missiles, beams, and clawed machines at the human ship. But every attack failed. The vessel adapted instantly, shifting shields, striking back with precision. It did not waste energy. It did not fight wildly. It fought with perfect control, each shot placed like a surgeon's cut. Refugees watching from the ground cried out, some in fear, some in joy. They whispered, the legends are real. The battle raged for hours. The swarm poured in more and more, but the human vessel never faltered. Finally, when the last wave fell silent, the ship hovered again, motionless, calm. The alien survivors tried to hail it, desperate to thank, desperate to beg, but the human ship gave no reply. After a moment, its engines lit with a faint glow and it vanished back into hyperspace, leaving silence behind. Reports reached the council within hours. Leaders shouted in disbelief. Some demanded proof. Others demanded caution. But the recording showed everything. One ship against tens of thousands and victory. The silver-scaled elder whispered, "They have returned." Panic spread among council members. One slammed his hands down. If this is what one ship can do, what happens when the fleet arrives? Will we survive the swarm, or will we fall too? The humans after? Others shouted back. Better to live with humans than die with nothing. The council chamber shook with arguments, but outside their walls, the galaxy was already changing in refugee camps. The story spread faster than light. Children shouted in joy. The humans are here, the humans saved us. Entire camps sang the words as if they were prayer on military ships. Soldiers replayed the recording over and over, silent as they watched one vessel fight like an army. And in the swarm's own mind, deep inside its endless hive, something shifted. For the first time, the enemy paused. For the first time, it had met resistance. It could not devour. But the human ship was not the end. It was only the beginning. Far away, in the dark reaches of space, more vessels stirred, massive shadows rising from hidden docks. The Armada was waking. The first arrival was not a promise. It was a warning. The galaxy understood. Humanity had returned. Humanity's Armada. Unleashed, the galaxy held its breath after the first arrival. One ship had torn through the swarm like a blade through paper, and then it vanished, leaving silence and fear behind. The council argued endlessly, but no answer. Came the swarm, enraged by its defeat, pressed harder, launching attacks deeper into the core worlds. Planets burned, stations cracked apart, millions fled into the void. Hope flickered like a candle about to die. Then, the stars themselves began to move. In a quiet sector near the council's heart, sensors screamed as portals tore open across the night. Massive rifts of light stretched wide, and from them poured ships, hundreds, thousands, black silhouettes glowing with fire. The Armada had arrived. Alien observers cried out in disbelief, their voices shaking. The vessels were enormous, each one larger than a city, some shaped like blades, others like hammers. Their hulls carried scars of ancient wars, symbols of humanity carved deep into the metal. The Armada did not roar, it did not shout. It moved in silence, in perfect formation. The swarm rushed to meet them. Millions of drones surged forward, confident in their endless numbers, confident that no fleet could match them. The Armada answered. A wall of fire swept through space, beams of energy brighter than suns, missiles streaking faster than light, drones shattered by the thousands, their wreckage scattering like dust. But it was not only power, it was precision. The human ships moved like dancers, every vessel linked to the others, striking in harmony, defending in perfect timing. It was not war, it was art. Alien fleets, nearby, watched in awe. Some wept openly. They had fought for years with chaos and fear, but humanity showed them what true coordination meant. No ship was left exposed, no ally abandoned. A swarm carrier, vast and monstrous, moved to crush the Armada. It had destroyed entire empires alone. Now it faced humanity. The human flagship advanced, its guns silent until the perfect moment. Then one strike split the carrier apart, its pieces scattering into the void. The galaxy shook. The myth of swarm invincibility crumbled. Reports spread. Faster than the battle, refugees screamed with joy. The Armada is real. In camps across broken worlds, children repeated the words like prayer, but fear also grew. Warlords hiding in dark corners whispered of human power. If this Armada turned against the galaxy, nothing could stand in its path. Still, for the soldiers watching, none of that mattered. What mattered was survival. What mattered was the swarm finally bleeding. As the battle raged, the humans did not only destroy, they saved. Damaged alien ships were pulled into formation, their shields restored. Their wounded, carried aboard human craft. It was not only a fleet of war, it was a fleet of guardians. Aliens watching began to understand. Humanity was not fighting for conquest. Humanity was fighting for the galaxy itself. The swarm screamed with fury, launching. Its greatest weapons, suns ignited, black holes ripped open, storms of fire poured into space, but the Armada did not falter. It shifted, adapted, countered, as if every disaster had already been prepared for. From the council chamber, leaders watched in silence, awe and terror mixing in their hearts. One whispered, "They fight as if they were born for this." Another muttered, "Perhaps they were." The battle stretched on, but the outcome was clear. Humanity was not just winning. They were reshaping the very meaning of war for the first time. The galaxy felt something stronger than fear. It felt certainty. Humanity had returned, not as myth, not as rumor, but as legend made real. And the Armada, vast and unstoppable, was only beginning its march. The turning tide, the swarm was not finished. Even as the Armada crushed its endless drones and split its monstrous carriers, the hive mind screamed across the stars, summoning weapons it had hidden for ages. From the depths of black space came leviathans, ships grown like living nightmares, each one larger than moons, their bodies covered with spines that burned with plasma. They released storms of acid fire, tearing through everything in their path. The alien fleets broke apart in terror. They had never seen such horrors. To them it was the end. But the Armada held its ground. The human ships shifted formation, their walls of fire bending like rivers, absorbing the impact, countering the storm. They did not scatter, they did not retreat. Instead, they advanced slowly, steadily, as if nothing could move them. Refugees watching from broken stations wept. Some fell to their knees, for they had never seen such courage, and then something even stranger happened amid the chaos. Human ships pulled wounded alien vessels into their lines, shielding them, repairing them, giving them power. Alien crews who had thought themselves abandoned found themselves alive again, protected by humans who asked nothing in return. Soldiers across the galaxy sent their reports with trembling voices. "They fight for us, not just for themselves." The swarm howled with fury, unleashing black storms of gravity, collapsing stars trying to break the Armada with raw destruction. Entire sectors bent under its rage. But the Armada adapted again, bending space in ways no alien could understand. On the bridge of the human flagship, the commander stood calm, giving orders with quiet precision. Every ship obeyed, every strike placed like a heartbeat. Council leaders watched through trembling screens, their arguments silenced. One whispered, "This is not a fleet. This is destiny." Yet even in victory, the cost was heavy. Human ships fell, some torn apart, some swallowed by the swarm's storms. Their crews vanished into silence. But for every loss, the Armada struck back harder, faster, sharper. Alien survivors began to understand something deeper. It was not just human technology. It was not just human firepower. It was human will, a will that refused to break, a will that refused to let others fall. A swarm leviathan lunged at a group of alien ships ready to crush them. But a human dreadnought moved between. Its shields flaring, it took the full strike and shattered in fire, its wreckage glowing like a burning star. The alien ships escaped, alive because humanity chose to shield them. The story spread instantly across camps, across fleets, across every corner of the galaxy. Humans were not just warriors, they were guardians. The swarm grew desperate, unleashing its queen's children. Enormous creatures birthed for one purpose: destruction. They swarmed toward the human lines, their roars shaking the void. But the Armada answered with unity, thousands of ships focusing as one, beams converging into a single spear of light. The children of the Queen were torn apart, their remains scattering like dust. The tide was turning. For the first time in history, the swarm was not advancing. It was retreating. Across the galaxy, voices rose in joy, shouts of hope, cries of belief. For the legend had become real, and the dark was finally breaking in the council chamber. The silver-scaled elder leaned back, his eyes wet, whispering, "The galaxy will never forget this day." But in the human flagship, the commander spoke quietly to his crew. "This is not the end. The Queen still waits, and we will finish what we started." The battle was shifting, the swarm was breaking, the galaxy was watching, and humanity stood at the center of it all, unshaken, unbroken, unstoppable. The final oath, the battle had raged for days. The swarm was breaking, its endless drones shattered, its leviathans destroyed, its children burned into dust. But still, one shadow remained. The Queen. She hid in the heart of a dying system, a colossal creature fused with machines, her body stretching across the void like a living fortress, her mind connected to every surviving drone, her rage filling the stars. The Armada gathered, their ships scarred, their hulls glowing with fire. Thousands had been lost, yet the formation was unbroken. The human commander stood silent on his bridge, his eyes fixed on the Queen. The Council sent frantic messages, warning of doom, begging the humans to retreat, to regroup, but the commander only replied once, his voice calm. "If we leave her alive, your galaxy ends. We finish this now." The Armada advanced. The Queen unleashed her fury. Storms of acid fire and gravity waves ripped through space. Alien fleets watching from afar cried in despair, believing no force could survive such chaos. But the Armada did not falter. Ship after ship absorbed the fire. Some broke apart, some vanished into silence. Yet the formation pressed forward, closer and closer. Refugees watching on hidden screens wept, praying for the humans to hold, whispering the words that had become a chant. "They are our guardians, they are our shield," the Queen screamed, her body releasing swarms by the millions. The void drowned in her rage, and then the human flagship struck, its guns blazing like a new sun, its beams piercing straight into the Queen's heart. The Armada followed, thousands of weapons converging, a single spear of fire aimed at the monster. The Queen roared one last time, a sound that shook the stars, then her body shattered, fragments scattering like black rain. Her mind silenced forever. The swarm collapsed instantly, their drones falling lifeless, their fury gone. The galaxy was free. For a moment, silence filled the void, a silence deeper than any battle. Then the humans sent their final message, not only to the Council, but to every surviving world, every refugee camp, every broken fleet. The voice was calm, strong, and clear. "We answer calls for aid, but never for conquest. Remember this? We are not rulers, we are not saviors, we are guardians. When the galaxy cries out, we will answer. But when peace returns, we will return to the shadows." Aliens across the galaxy listened, their hearts trembling. Some wept, some bowed their heads. All understood that history had changed in the refugee camps. Children shouted in joy, chanting the words, "They are guardians. They are legends." In the council chamber, leaders sat in silence, ashamed of their fear, humbled by humanity's vow on the battlefield. The Armada turned slowly, their engines glowing one by one. The ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving only wreckage and silence behind. The galaxy was safe, not because of its own power, but because legends had returned, and as the last human ship disappeared into the void, the words of their oath lingered, carved into the hearts of every living being. Humanity had come, humanity had fought, humanity had saved, and humanity had left behind a promise that would never fade.